Good evening, everyone. We are back continuing our Pixar retrospective, and we're at another film that we were both dying to talk about. I know you have a lot of fond memories with this film. We both do, and we're going to go into it. We're going to talk about our first experiences with the film, a little bit about the film itself, behind the scenes, a lot of which I didn't know until literally right before we hit live. So this is going to be a fun one. It's a big one. Toy Story 2. I always keep forgetting how early in the filmography of Pixar Toy Story 2 was. We always usually complain about sequels, don't we? And, they did two movies. They did Toy Story and A Bug's Life. Boom. And then straight away hit you with a sequel. So
it's probably the greatest animated movie ever made.
It's definitely up there. I'd say it's definitely up there in the list of just best sequels ever made, just in general, if we're going to, expand it out to that. Toy Story 2, I fished out my old VHS because this is a trip down memory lane, and I'm loving it. And yeah, this was always such like a cool color combination. I remember as well, just like the white front cover, but with like the red cassette tape. It just it just popped. Just loved it.
Yeah, I think mine was this. No, I'm trying to. Yeah, no, mine was the same. I'm trying to remember, but yeah, no, it was. Because Toy Story 1 had Buzz flying with Woody, and then yeah.
That's right. Toy Story 2. Then, can you remember? What are some of your earliest memories of Toy Story 2?
I went to the cinema to see this. I swear I did. I swear I remember, because I liked Toy Story, and then I remember this came out, and I went to cinema, and I was like, "This is like the best thing ever. This was like the greatest, and it's the best one out of all three. It's the best one out of the trilogy. 4 didn't happen. It's the best. It's the greatest of them all." It's such a good movie. It was one of my favorite movies for a long time when I was a kid, and it's still one of the greatest movies ever made.
For me, I think there might be other examples, but this is always the one that I have the earliest memory of. The concept of a sequel, what a sequel was, a continuation of the story with the same characters, a new film coming out with the same characters that I loved from the first one. Because, I mean, the trailer for this, the teaser trailer would have been... This film came out in 99, so I'm assuming we would have got the first teaser trailer for this like a year previous, so like 98, I would imagine, probably after Bug's Life had been released or something like that. So I would have been 5 at the time. I was very, very young, and already at that point, I already showed it off on the video. We talked about it. I had Toy Story. It was one of the films that I watched the most. It probably is still to this day my number one sort of childhood movie. It's probably that, Space Jam, maybe The Lion King, or Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie. I don't know, but Toy Story is definitely always going to be that number one. And I had the toys, I already had that attachment to it. And I don't know what film it would have been that I went to see. And the teaser trailer it opened with the aliens. And I remember seeing it with my dad, and my dad was sitting on the left. And I was like, it's the aliens from Toy Story. They're putting Toy Story on at the cinema. And then it was the claw came down and dropped I was going to say it dropped a number 2. Phrasing. The number 2 came down on the claw machine, and the aliens turned to the camera and went 2. And then boom, Woody and Buzz came on the screen. I think it played Thin Lizzy's The Boys Are Back in Town. And it said, like, Toy Story 2's happening. And I was trying to get my head around it. And I think I turned to my dad and said, what does that mean? He says, oh, well, they're doing another one. I was like, oh my God. So the hype was there. It's my earliest memory of this film.
Yeah, it was. I remember it because it's in the game as well when they do that, and they all turn to the camera and they squeak.
Yeah,
I always remember that. I always remember the beginning of the game when they do that, and then you have the Traveler's Tales thing come on. It's
because this was 99, but just seeing that trailer, this would have been before I was aware of even Star Wars, because Star Wars I would have watched with Phantom Menace and then watched the originals afterwards. But that was different because you had the original, but this was the first time I'd ever saw a trailer for a sequel. I genuinely believe that. And then, this was the big cinema film. I think, oh God, I've lost count of how many times I went to see it. I think this was one of those ones that you'd go to see for like different birthday parties with your mates. You'd go with like one mate to go and see it, and then someone else's birthday would be happening around the same kind of time. So you'd go with their family, and you'd always go to McDonald's afterwards or something. I think there were McDonald's toys for this. I remember having an Emperor Zurg, and he was on like little wheels, and you could like wind him backwards and let him go, and he would.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of remember McDonald's toys as well. But Zurg always had wheels, didn't he? Because he has wheels, like the actual big figure has wheels and everything.
That I love that visual gag as well, where the camera pans back and you just see him like destroy Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah,
He's just like this little toy on wheels.
yeah. That's brilliant. That's one of my very favorite moments when he just
Mhm.
comes out of the box, and then because you see it from his like
Zergovision.
not a crosshair, but you know what I mean. Yeah, you see it from his thing, and then it comes out, and then you just see him going across like the pavement. That's brilliant.
Mhm. Now, of course, alongside this, we also had I guess we can talk about it now while we're talking about early memories of the film. The video game on PS1, the Buzz
It's one of
Lightyear
the
game.
greatest games
And I
ever
don't
made.
even remember completing it. I don't think I got that far. I was and am a terrible gamer, and all I remember is the level in Andy's room, and you can
I
sort of
think I
free roam
must
around the
have
room.
completed it like 10 times.
Mhm.
Like, do you know what I mean? Because I remember but I remember getting that in a cereal box when they had the demo of it,
Yeah,
and it was
yeah,
like a
yeah.
demo disc, and it was just level 2. And I remember that, and it was Andy's neighborhood, and I always found it when I first got it was weird. I was like, but why is this level 2? I don't get it. And but obviously it was a demo, and it was just that, and I remember that was like that's the like it was so good, and I was like, I need this game to come out. And so that must have been 99, and then it did come out, and I was like, this is about it's one of the greatest games I've ever played. I played it again recently. They re-released it on PlayStation. On PlayStation, and they put trophies with it. So I was like, I'm going to platinum this game. It's great.
And did you platinum it in the end?
Yeah, it's great. I was like, this is my goal now. As soon as I saw it, I was like, all right, this is my goal for the next week, or however long it took.
Ah, that's awesome. I haven't played that remake actually. Is it just like a remaster, or is it a
Yeah,
full on?
it's just the same, exactly the same. But they just put trophies to it. But
Oh,
it doesn't
nice.
need a remake. It doesn't even. It still holds up very, very well. Even the
Mhm.
graphics. I mean, the graphics do. They do look 90s, but they hold up. They're not like stupid, like where you think, this. It just looks cool.
Mhm. We've got a couple of comments I want to get to. We've got Brian Emery who says, I love Toy Story 2. It's a great movie. It absolutely is. I'm not going to disagree
Best
with
one
you
out of
there.
all of
And Toblerone says, recently went back to watch the trilogy. Thank you. Yes, it's a trilogy. we've got to keep that going. It's a trilogy. 2 is simply a miracle of the film.
It's always
Miracle of
the
a
one
film, sorry.
where I watched it, like if I do ever watch it, except this time around I watched 1 then 2. But if I do watch it, usually I'll just watch 2 because it's great, and then I'll be like, and I'll be like, yeah, but then there's the next one. So I watched 3, and I'm like, well, I might as well watch 1 now. So I always watch 2, then 3, then 1. It's really weird.
See, this is where we slightly disagree on this. Now, I'm not disagreeing that Toy Story 2 is a fantastic movie. Of course it is. You know, it is one of the best sequels out there. But I think it could be the nostalgia or the attachment I have to it. There's something so special about the first Toy Story for me. And it could be the simplicity of it, that it's more, I guess it's more personal to a kid because it's toys in your room kind of thing, and it's more for our age group, I think. Well, I say more for our age group, but the immediate setting of it is you're able to connect to it more in that way. At least I was as a kid. The sequel definitely gets a lot bigger, and I do think just generally the writing of 1 and the jokes and the humor lands with me a little bit more than 2. I will say that. So my preference of the trilogy, I love all 3 dearly for all different reasons, but 1 is still my favorite. But that doesn't take away from this. And Toblerone saying that this is a miracle of a film. I actually didn't realize how much of a miracle it actually was, because the production of this film was a mess. They essentially had 9 months to produce this film. It usually takes them years to produce a Pixar film. They made this essentially in 9 months, which is it's impossible, just unfathomable to think of that. You look at the highest heights of this film and how much it builds upon the first movie and the technology developing and the huge like set pieces and environments and variety of different environments in the film, not to mention all of the other characters. It's a miracle is the absolute word for this film. So originally Disney wanted this to be, well, they envisioned Toy Story 2 as a direct-to-video sequel. Around about this time, Katzenberg, who we talked about, who was originally was he like the CEO or the head of Disney at the time? Was the chairman, sorry. He'd left. We have a new guy come in, which is Joe Roth, and he was the one who was pushing for all those direct-to-video Disney sequels at the time. You know, when they were doing sequels to all of their big movies, and most of them were terrible. Let's be honest. I bought most of them, but you know, it was a cash grab. But that's sort of what Toy Story 2 was originally going to be. Was just a direct-to-video sequel. And there was even contention as to whether it was going to be done in hand-drawn animation as well. It was even down to that point. So
that's weird, though. That's really weird. Imagine that.
It seemed like not many people had faith in it. It was just going to be like a little side project. Pixar itself wasn't even really working on the film, not like the main core staff. It was still affiliated with Pixar, but it was a much smaller team working on it. They were in a completely separate building from the main Pixar studios, because the main team of like 300 were working on Bug's Life at the time, and they just had a few other people that were working on ideas for Toy Story 2. And then when Disney saw some of like the early shots for it and the early story tests and whatnot, they were really, really impressed with it, and then changed their minds and said, actually, let's give this a theatrical release. So you can't take a film that is essentially meant to be a direct-to-video sequel and just say, oh, yeah, just put that out in cinema. Of course, it's got to be reworked.
Isn't that what Moana was?
That was meant to, yeah, similar to that. Yeah, it was meant to be a TV show, that wasn't it, on Disney Plus? And then it was like, hey, make a movie out of that now. Yeah. So I imagine the same thing as well. But what was the challenging thing with this is that they had to add some extra stuff into the story. I think they had to add like an extra 15 minutes into it or something. And John Lasseter basically said that it couldn't just be 15 minutes of filler. It had to be like integral 15 minutes that fleshes out the story and, you know, isn't superfluous to the overall surrounding film. So things had to be reworked to pad the film out a little bit more. But the main thing is that the release date that they had couldn't be changed. Like, Disney were adamant, because probably for all of like the marketing and the merchandise that was already in production for the release of the film, it couldn't be changed. It couldn't be delayed. And Pixar pleaded with them, saying like, this is impossible. We cannot get this done. We need to push the release date back. And it was unwavering. So they managed to cobble it all together, rework the story, get it all animated and out in cinemas in 9 months. Insane. Absolute insanity.
And now
I really appreciate Pixar, though, because when they did the initial screening, Disney were like fine with it. Like, yeah, this is really good. But it was actually Lasseter and the rest of the Pixar team that looked at what they had and were really unhappy with it and said, this doesn't sort of match our quality guidelines of, you know, of chasing after perfection. We're not happy with this story. We need to rework it. And Disney were like, no, it's fine. Just bring it out, which speaks a lot for their direct-to-video sequels at the time, right, in the late 90s and the 2000s and whatnot. So I'm so thankful that John Lasseter and the rest of the team, that over a weekend they rehashed the story. It was called like, he held a story summit, it was called, where he drafted everyone in, and over the course of 2 days, over a weekend, they formulated the entire reworked story for Toy Story 2 and then got to work on it.
Do you know what the original idea was?
No, I guess it was just more pared down. I know the story as we have it, Toy Story 2, borrowed elements that were originally going to be part of Toy Story 1. For example, like Al from Al's Toy Barn was meant to feature briefly in the first Toy Story movie. And I guess Al's Toy Barn gets a mention, so it's
I was going to say, yeah, so there is, it is there.
That nightmare sequence that you get in this film as well, of Woody being thrown into the trash by Andy, apparently that was cut down quite a lot because the original version of it was a lot more scary for kids, and that was going to be part of Toy Story 1 as well. I guess maybe when Buzz is the new favorite, you know, Andy's new favorite, Woody would have had a dream sequence where he imagines Andy throwing him away or something. So that got reworked into this, but no, I don't know any specifics of what the original story would have been.
Scene I forgot about when I watched it this time round. I was like, oh yeah, that's a thing that happens now. I mean, I didn't forget about it, but when it happened, I was like, oh, it just reminded me. I was like, oh, that's a thing, and
we've got Kobe Wiggle in the comments who says least favorite Toy Story movie. Interesting. Why? We need reasons.
How do you block people on this? It's the greatest Toy Story movie. It's one of the greatest animated movies ever made. It's just everything from like just the kind of characters I mean, obviously you see the main lot, Potato Head, Rex, and all that. You see them in the first one, but this is just them journeying together. It's your quest movie, but like it's do you know what I mean? Like the first one isn't as much a quest movie. It's like, I mean, they obviously get lost, they need to get back home. It's, you know, that buddy movie, whereas this is more like, you know, you're like, yeah, like your quest. They're going through the wilderness. They're getting from, you know, it's like an RPG. They go into the different areas, don't they? Start in Andy's room, then they go to Al's toy barn, then they go to his. Do you know what I mean? Like the different regions of the world, kind of thing. It does all that. I think it's great. And you've got like your airship with your fucking, they're driving the car at the end, and then you got your big final. Like it's just all done really, really well, and all the sets with like the airport and in the, you know, in the carriage holder with all the bags and stuff, like it's all just looks so good. You know what I mean? It's not like, it didn't feel small. Everything felt like going here to here to here, and it was just really big. But yeah, I mean, how toys got around that much in the world, we don't know. But
oh, they definitely have upped the ante. Like even just the animation quality. I mean, we talked about like the lighting and the textures and whatnot in A Bug's Life. How, you know, it was leaps and bounds better than even Toy Story. And that's not even to say that the original Toy Story was bad. I was amazed at how incredibly well that film still holds up. But even if you just compare the first Toy Story film to this one in, what was it, in 4 years difference between the two, you can already see like the animation is just took off leaps and bounds. They actually didn't reuse many assets. Like I thought, with it being initially a direct-to-video sequel, they might have tried to cut corners and whatnot and used a lot of the assets that they already had left over from Toy Story. Apparently they didn't. A lot of it was completely reworked. They did use some that they had lying around. That was mostly the cleaner character in this, who's essentially Jerry from that Jerry's Game chess, you know, where he's playing chess with himself in the short film.
you know, in Toy Story 3, you know, the cleaner of the you know, when Woody he almost gets caught, where it, like they just escape in the daycare and the cleaner sees him. Is that the same guy? Because I'm just thinking of it now. I can't remember what it looks like.
No, it's a different guy. Jerry's probably dead at that point because he's super old in this, and Andy's like off going to college. It's like at least 10 years later or something, isn't it? So,
well, this is true. No, it's
11.
Yeah, it's about 11 years. Well, it's set in the year it comes out, really, isn't it?
Yeah, so 11 years. 11 years later. Yeah. Kobe says, I only like Toy Story 1. Oh, 1 to 3. So that also includes 2?
I mean,
I guess.
Wrong. There's that. There's just, you're wrong. You can't dislike this movie.
Toblerone says, fair to say the opening with Zod? Zod? What, from Superman 2? The Emperor dude, just fantastic stuff, plus the elevator scene with Buzz.
I do really like the intro. The intro is, I think the intro is great, and I always remember the, like, you know, when he jumps on the things and like the tones that they make every single time. I know exactly. Yeah, I think that's
it's 2001: A Space Odyssey, isn't it?
But the thing is, when obviously it's a video game, and then he's playing it like that. And I always thought as a kid, it'd be cool if you could flow like that in a video game properly and you could duck behind things. But I was watching it like this time, thinking of that, and I went, no, you literally can do all this in a video game now.
Yeah.
Like it's because beforehand, like obviously, you know, when that came out when I was younger, you couldn't go to, you know, play a video game to that perfection like that. But now they can be. I was like, oh yeah, you could duck away from that and his alarm would be going off. And I was like, that's, yeah, it was really weird thinking of that, going, oh yeah, the video games do work like that now. But yeah, though that's a really good opening scene.
I've spoke about opening scenes before, like I always mention that unintentionally for the shirt, but the opening of Two Towers, right, with Gandalf and the Balrog, and I saw that for the first time, and I was blown away. Just opening sequences that just completely hook you, whether it's Star Wars or whatever. And I don't think this film gets enough credit for that, because rewatching it again, my mind was immediately cast back to seeing this film for the first time and being genuinely blown away by the intro of this film. And it's still so loud on the Blu-ray as well, where he's flying in amongst the asteroids and you've got all those robots and everything. It's a great opening establishing scene, essentially. And then we get the fun meta of it, where it is a video game within the universe. And I was watching it and thinking, like, this is what Lightyear should have been. It should have just been essentially an hour and a half of this, because it's fantastic.
I swear the Toy Story 3 video game has a level where you can play through like that with Zurg. I can't remember. One of them does, but I haven't played it. I feel like it's a Toy Story 3 one, because I played that on PSP, but I think it's the PS3 version, which is really shit because I saw it on PS5 and you can download it, but it's the PSP version. I'm like, oh, that's the shit version. That's the version I played. Like, why can't you play the PS3 version on it? But yeah, I think you can. But yeah, that should have been, because they did a TV show of
Star Command, wasn't it?
Yeah. It should have been like that with fucking Patrick Breadman on as Buzz again. They should have done that.
Oh, it would have been also such a missed opportunity. And Zurg's such a cool look as well. Just conceptually, the design of him is amazing. I mean, quite clearly based on Darth Vader, but he's got such a, even despite that, he's got such a unique look to him. And I always talked about like the striking color schemes of a lot of these characters. Like just seeing Woody and Buzz together are iconic, just even down to their designs. Picking a Western character and a sci-fi character was really inspired, but also like the yellow and blue of Woody offset with the, like the greens and like the purples of Buzz. But Zurg is just like this block of purple, and he's just immediately captures your attention, doesn't he? I never had a Zurg toy though. I had the little McDonald's toy, as I mentioned, but they did release.
You literally had the thing on the back and you could look through his Zurg.
Yeah, that was it. They did release a full-size Zurg, I think, just like the movie, in the same box.
But no, they have now, but I don't think in the same box they did when we were younger, because I remember when I was younger being annoyed that every time you'd buy, like, it was hard to find a Woody with a pull string. There was loads where it was like he'd have the thing, but you wouldn't pull out. It would just
that was mine. Yeah, it was just attached on the back.
And you press like his buttons. And I always remember as a kid being like, but why? We've literally got the spec of a toy here. Why are we not just making that? It's like we have to change it. It was weird to me. Like, you could get a silver Buzz Lightyear, which I had. I also had a normal Buzz Lightyear, but you could get a silver one. I was like, but why? Again, why is this a thing? We already have. We know exactly what it looks like. I don't understand why all these weird things were. Like Zurg, like why? Like, for instance, I did have one that had all the, like, the gun with the like all the attachments properly. The box was different. I was like, but why? We see, like, why don't they just make it? Was weird. I always found it really odd.
Yeah, and I guess I remember that silver Buzz. It was like chrome, wasn't it? Like shiny and chrome, like Mad Max or something. And I guess the reason is, it's merchandising. Oh, get this variant of Buzz Lightyear, and that's fun because we see that in this film. They're doing exactly the same thing. Buzz was the hit selling toy, so now get the same toy, but now he's got a utility belt on him, and
weird. I didn't
apparently like a little grappling hook and magnet suction cup things that also attach.
We didn't get that, which is a shame.
One thing I noticed this time, I think I had noticed some of these sound effects before. You talked about being so like intimately familiar with a film, or like its music or its sound effects. It's just iconic to you in every way. So I probably did pick up on some of these, but I didn't realize how many Star Wars references were in this opening scene alone of this film. There's always the one main Star Wars reference throughout all of, well, the Toy Story trilogy, at least. I don't think there is any in Toy Story 4. Another reason why Toy Story 4 isn't canon. There's no Star Wars reference. The first one, there's the bit where they talk about, like, basically Zurg is building the Death Star. In this one, you have the I Am Your Father, very, very just, that's on the nose reference to Star Wars. And then in Toy Story 3, you have the moment where Big Baby is like the Darth Vader character overthrowing the Emperor Lotso Hugging Bear and throwing him into the trash. But just moments from this and sound effects, you have there's like a blaster sound from Star Wars that's used in the intro. I think that's the sound when Zurg shoots him, maybe. There's the little camera thing that comes out of the wall and identifies Buzz is like the thing at the beginning of Return of the Jedi in Jabba's palace, the little eye thing that comes out of the door. There's the bit where he's trying to grab the battery, makes like a lightsaber sound effect, like a warm, 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 warm. And I was like, oh shit, there's probably some more as well. I forgot them now. I should have like made a note of all of them, but they're the ones that really stuck out to me.
It's no, it's not. To be fair, Zurg wouldn't have worked in the third one. He's in the credits, isn't he? Like the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a shame they use Big Baby with figure. It's like, yeah, but it should have been Zurg with the thing, because the whole thing was at the first one, Zurg was Darth Vader, because it was like he's building the Death Star. Cool. Then he says that, and it's like, yeah, but then they just offset Zurg. I'm like, yeah, but it should have been Zurg. But that's only small.
I was going to mention something else about that intro. What was I going to say? Oh God, it's gone. Oh yeah, a really really nice touch, but it's just so cool to me every time when the ground opens up and Buzz jumps into Zurg's fortress. When the doors close, it just pauses in like a Z shape through the lighting and before it closes. I love that. It's just like it's such a small moment, but that's always stuck with me. I thought that was just really cool.
I always like the whole and like the chase with the fucking the spikes just chasing after you. I swear it's Toy Story 3. I can't remember, but there's one of them where you play that level in a game where you actually play that where you're running away from the spikes and stuff, and like it actually plays that as a proper level. I swear it's Toy Story 3 because I haven't played it. But anyway, they did a Buzz Lightyear Star Command game as well, didn't they?
I think so. I'm not sure.
I never played that. It doesn't look as good as the Toy Story 2 game, but they did the game of it. But Buzz Lightyear Star Command was cool. They had like the robot sidekick, the big fat one, the hot girl, and I swear there was another one.
I remember those since I watched it. Yeah, is it all on Disney Plus? By the way, do they have Star Command on there? Can you watch it?
I have no idea. I don't have Disney Plus anymore.
I should say as well. Speaking of Disney Plus, if you watch Toy Story 2 now on Disney Plus, you are not seeing the original uncut full version of Toy Story 2. So we get the fun outtakes in the credits, right? And as of 2019, they have since removed one of the outtakes, which is where Stinky Pete is basically, well, it's like a casting couch thing, isn't it? He's chatting up two Barbie dolls, and he's saying like, "Oh, I'm sure I can get you a part in Toy Story 3." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." The camera's on, and he's back to it. You can no longer see that scene anymore. It has been removed from history by Disney. So luckily, I managed to.
That we got Toy Story 3 when we did, like when it was a time where they, because now it would be just horrible.
Well, it'd be Toy Story 4, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I know. But we got it. Like I was saying, we got it at a time where they could actually make decent movies. I mean, what came out in 2010 was that Tangled?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, we got that around the same year, so that was when things were still But it's funny because Barbie is in Toy Story 3, but Stinky Pete isn't.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But luckily I managed to. I've got a version on Blu-ray that I got with. I think I mentioned this. The Disney animated classics that I have on DVD, the slipcover ones. Disney don't do this anymore, but they used to have like a code in there, and you could redeem points. And then once you amassed enough points, there was like a small collection of, if you have the highest amount of points, you could go for like a Steelbook Blu-ray. There were DVDs on there. You could get all little knickknacks of Disney stuff. And then they'd post it to you. It was like Disney Rewards or something it was called. And I redeemed all of the codes from all of the Disney animated classics that I bought, because I pretty much bought them in bulk. And then I had all these points that I could use. So I got, I think it was like Nightmare Before Christmas and Monsters, Inc. on Steelbook. But then I also got Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 on Steelbook as well. And that version is the 2013 version. So luckily on,
I didn't know it was of Toy Story. Oh, yeah, it's red, isn't it?
No, it's very similar to just like the poster, like the white front cover.
I thought it had like a red on it. I don't know.
No. Well, not the version I've got anyway. So actually, it's like a silver Steelbook. I should have bought it on camera. It's still downstairs at the moment. But luckily, it was the 2013 version, so it had the Stinky Pete outtake in there. But yeah, if you're watching it now, you're only going to be able to find that on YouTube if you don't own it on good old physical media. This is why physical media is so important, guys. Buy your films. Have your films.
I know. One day when computers all shut down, it's not going to work. Computers all shut down one day. If it's all on one thing, they could just shut it down. We'll do it.
Got a few comments here. Bath Time says, "Oh my God, it's the lads." Yeah, no, we're back every Wednesday.
It's a lie. We're not here.
Toblerone says 4. We don't talk about that film. It didn't happen. I quite agree.
Just like Indiana Jones 3, we don't talk about it.
4 and 5. Headcanon's such a wonderful thing, though, isn't it?
I mean, to be fair, it's not the thing about 4 as well. It's not like you can even well, I mean, this is a good thing, but what I'm saying is, it's not like it gets to the end of 3 and you go, oh, yeah, but there's unanswered things. It's like, no, it generally just stopped and they made it for no reason whatsoever. You know what I mean? It's not like, I mean, I've mentioned this before. I think about Kingdom Hearts, where there are things in 3 where it's had a great ending. I love the ending to 3, but there are things that's like, yeah, but the fact that you're doing that is kind of like, oh, now we've got to do it. It's just, there were things. It doesn't do that. It's literally just like 4 is just pointless. There is not a single thing that makes you go, yeah, but what if? Not a single thing. And that's the thing about 3. But yeah, 2 is just, it's just a perfect movie. I mean, to be fair, this is one thing I don't know if you ever thought about. So so Woody's voice is Tom Hanks's brother in everything. So on the toys, in Kingdom Hearts, in just everything.
I didn't know that.
So Tom Hanks is only in Toy Story 1 to 4. Like, he's only in the movies. His brother is in everything else. He does the toys, he does the video games, he does everything. So he voices him more than Tom Hanks does.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, that's cool.
It's but it's because, I mean, it's just because I'm picky, I guess. But when I was listening to it, like, he does sound like him. But when he's like in Kingdom Hearts 3, and he says, like, because of he's had quite some time, rather than just saying a few phrases, I can hear a difference. I'm like, just like, but that's because he's talking and talking. But I don't know if that's just because I'm picky. But when you hear him do the voice and the toys and stuff, they sound very same.
Yeah. I think it's because sometimes with Kingdom Hearts we get spoiled, we get the original voice actor back, but I appreciate sometimes, for something like that, Tom Hanks is maybe a little bit high profile for that. Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts, but you'd think a video game like that, I'd be like, yeah, I'm doing a video game. And James Woods did it, so.
Hey, we got Samwise Gamgee as Hercules in the first one.
Yeah, see, we got this is the thing. This is the thing. See, we get good people. I don't know why Tom Hanks ain't doing it. We didn't get Johnny Depp.
No.
Johnny Depp on it. We got some weird Jack Sparrow that we just have to pretend sounds like Johnny Depp.
Got a few more comments here. Toblerone says Kelsey Grammer is Stinky Pete. The moment where he asks, "How long will it last, Woody?" Probably my favorite moment in the film. Let's talk about some of our new characters then. So, like most sequels, you have to introduce brand new characters into the mix. And we've got a whole crew of them with this one. So we've got Jesse, Stinky Pete, and Bullseye. We've got other characters like Al and Zurg. We can talk about those in a minute. What do you think to our Woody's Roundup gang in this film?
You know what I found weird? Well, not weird. Well, yeah, but at the end where there's all the toys there and it says "Welcome home, Andy" and stuff, and he's like, "Oh, thanks, Mum." What if his mum just turned around and goes, "Yeah, I didn't get you those"?
Yeah, no, I thought that too.
How did they get there? And that is a conversation that should be had.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like, I don't get it.
I love the new characters in this film, and I think they're introduced.
Bullseye. I like Bullseye, but he's the very puppy version of Slinky, because Slinky does act like a dog at times, like he has his things, but this is the very, very puppy version. I like them all. I do really like Jessie. I like the way she is. I'm worried what we're going to see of her in the 5th one, but I do like her. I do like the all of them, to be fair. I like Stinky Pete. I thought he was good. He was kind. I mean, he has no place in another one, but it's kind of like, this is the good thing that the first 3 Toy Story movies do, is nothing overstays its welcome. It does its thing, and then it's not like, oh, we're going to rehash an old character because they're popular. It's one trilogy that I can perfectly say is like, yeah, but that does all it needs to do. And that's the thing. Like, it leaves, like, for instance, I would like to see more of Zurg, but that's because he was great. But if they continue him into 3, you'd be like, oh, this is shit. Same with Stinky Pete. It would have been shit, but they are characters that are good and they hold up where they are, and it makes you want to see more of them. And I think that's what makes a great character. Makes you want to see more. And then it's like, doesn't mean you have to include more. You just want the viewer to always want to see more. So they have that whatever the word is about them, just keeps you there. I think a lot of too many movies and video game stuff go, oh, we'll bring them back then, and it's like, oh, we don't want to see them anymore, and it just ruins the character. That's one thing Toy Story never did, was ruin any of these characters.
And it makes them unique to their respective film as well. I think it makes
I like
helps make that
as well. I think it was cool that he had a pickaxe. I just think that was a really fun thing. And he's a boss in the game, so like they're all I had a Stinky Pete. I think he came in the box, but he was a hard one. He wasn't soft.
Yeah, I had like a little one, like a little Stinky Pete. It wasn't, again, like full size or anything. I love Jesse in this film. I think, rewatching it again, I've always thought the voice was great for the character, but Joan Cusack really outdid herself for this character. Like, you can tell, like, probably in the recording booth, like, she becomes Jessie. And every time I see her in any other film or hear her voice, there's always that hint of Jessie there every time. She plays the principal in School of Rock.
Yeah.
And when she shouts, I'm just like, that's Jessie. Like, I could just hear it every time. She's wonderful. She's a really, really great character, and I really like her addition. And yeah, Kelsey Grammer is always he's a brilliant actor. Just really commands your attention. He's just got such a distinctive voice as well. And I think it's an interesting concept for a villain, because it's like, okay, so what do we do now with this film? We had this tyrannical child in the first one, and who was our villain. Where do you go for the sequel? And I guess you could argue that Zurg's a bit of a villain, but he only really has a bit part in the film.
Yeah, he's only like he isn't the mate. Like, he doesn't really affect anyone.
Exactly.
He's just there. Yeah. He's just this. I do love his entrance when he's on the elevator, where he just rises up like that. I just think he looks so cool, and he's just like the opposing. But the thing is, I don't know if he knows he's a toy, because suddenly he starts playing with Buzz afterwards. So I don't know, but like, he's that opposing from Buzz Lightyear's world kind of thing, and he's just there and he does his thing, and that's it.
Yeah,
but yeah, he's. I think Stinky Pete would be the main toy villain. But then you've got Owl is just a bit like he's like a villain, but he doesn't know he's a villain to the toys. He's just a person.
Yeah, and I do think it's an interesting angle to bring Stinky Pete into it, through this whole notion of toy collectors and a museum, and sort of like this element of immortality that they plant the seeds for it in this movie, which I think is really effective. It's not this massively overt thing in the story, but it does exist, and it comes back at the very end that the toys are kind of living on borrowed time. Not only is there a potential that they'll get damaged or discarded, like Woody at the beginning where he gets his arm torn, but also the fact that Stinky Pete says it in the movie, Andy's growing up and there's nothing you can do about it. Do you think that Andy will really take you to college or on his honeymoon? It's already planting those seeds for what will be, for our great, wonderful payoff ending of the whole Toy Story trilogy in Toy Story 3.
The thing is,
yeah,
it's a great, and it ended exactly as it should. But the when they obviously get passed to another kid, I did at the end, I was like, that was a good ending. But then I was sat there after the credits rolling, going, you do realize you're all gonna have to go through that exact same thing again when you go.
Yeah.
Like with the whole because what was it? They were because they were going to be after Lotso. It was going to be, so they're in the daycare, and it was like fine. And it's like, realistically, that should have been your perfect setup, because you're there with kids forever. But you're all going to have to go through all of that all over again at some point. And that movie was 16 years ago. So yeah, they've gone through it. They've gone through it. We just never saw it, but they've gone through it again.
Except they're not aging Bonnie up significantly, are they, throughout the films? She was basically the same age, roughly, in Toy Story 4 as she was in Toy Story 3. And I don't think she's aged up by all that much in this film either, which is weird, because we're dealing with like iPads and shit now. Granted, it was 2019, wasn't it? So we would have had... Yeah, we had iPads in 2019. But you know what I mean? I feel like it'll be modern tech as of like 2026 when Toy Story 5 comes out, but she hasn't aged.
But then again, is she still going to be a little kid? Little kids do play iPads, don't they? So I don't know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, because they haven't aged her up, this should still be like 2010 Bonnie. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe like 2011 or 2012. Maybe I can, extend an olive branch and just say she's aged up 2 years between movies. It should be old tech. You know what I mean?
It's a weird one, though, because it's a good trilogy that ended, and then it's like they did a 4. And I don't feel like they could do a 6, because Tom Hanks ain't going to be able to do it again. Like, I just don't feel like they could do a 6. I think it's a bit too much work. And it just seems a little bit like these are just two random movies that, you know what I mean? You had a story and that was great, but then they just did this for some reason and no one knows why.
There are some things about this film which I think it's fine, and I think it works for the film, but I do sort of scratch my head about it a little bit and don't particularly buy it. And the bit that I'm talking about is the fact that Woody would, completely just give up trying to get back to Andy and abandoning all of it, abandoning all of his friends and just not going home and giving all of that up for a few toys that he's only met for like a day or like a couple of days.
Because it's the whole, because you got to think, right? He's like, yeah, Andy is growing up and he's thinking about that, and obviously Jesse's had like that thing happen to her, and he's probably worried, he's probably scared, he's like, yeah, this is going to happen. But also when he got fixed up, Thingy brushed off the name Andy, so it's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's like, have you ever tried, like, well, have you ever, like, when you I don't know, like, if you're a kid and you're throwing out old toys, it's like the fact they've got a face and got eyes, it's just like, it's like this whole, like, you're throwing away this like real thing. So it's the same thing of like, when he gets rid of like the name, it's like, well, you don't see it anymore, and it's kind of like, okay, it's easier for him. I think that makes a big difference.
I think it works for the movie, but I think it's a bit of a stretch. I'm like, I don't believe that Woody would willingly do. It fits for the film. It's necessary for the film, but I'm there like, I don't 100% buy that he would just give all of that up for these toys he's met for just.
They could have had a Stretch Armstrong that you could have done so much with in terms of like stretching it, getting one way, and like they could have done so.
Maybe
much
it was licensing, because they couldn't get the rights to Barbie in the first film, could they?
Could have something. Could have done it.
And then also, I was talking to you the other day after I watched it about Woody's Roundup, just the concept that Woody was part of this old, like, what would you say, like 1940s, 1950s, black and white. Yeah. So it was like Howdy Doody or something, this little marionette children's program. And apparently Woody's this highly sought after collectible item from this, I guess at the time, sort of like iconic piece of television. I say iconic though, but it got cancelled and never got renewed. Essentially what I'm saying is, by the point of this movie, this show would have been like at least 50 years old or 40 years old. So would Woody in Toy Story 1 have been this current popular toy among kids? Or is he sort of like a hand-me-down from previous generations of Andy's family? Because it's weird to me. It's like, it almost be like now if, like, as I said, like a Captain Scarlet or a Dick Tracy or a Thunderbirds toy came out and kids of today were going insane about it. It's like, I'm not buying that. This is quite old hat now. This is a different generation. So yeah, it's weird to me that no one would know what this Woody is, and the fact that it's meant to be massively collectible, but apparently no one's aware of that apart from Al, who's collecting the Woody's Roundup gang. I don't know. I think it gets a little bit muddy with the lore in terms of Woody's now part of this old TV show.
The thing is, people always have things that they don't realize are expensive and collectible. So I think it's just a thing he had, and he liked cowboys. Because we don't, in the first one, it's not like Woody's part of this, because when you see, I'm pretty sure you don't see a Woody poster at all, because he's got the fat cowboy poster thing that's like the kid throwing like, I don't think you ever see any sort of Woody poster. So
is it just Western themed, maybe?
Yeah, it's just,
okay.
Woody's just a thing. So it's like, it could be, and then it's like, oh, it was part of a thing. Oh, I didn't know that.
The one thing that is weird, and this is me just completely just like finding holes in it. It doesn't even bother me in the slightest when I watch the film, but it is something worth mentioning. You've Got a Friend in Me, as of this movie, becomes part of the diegetic sound. I think that's how you say it. Like music that exists within the actual universe. It's part of the old Woody's Roundup TV show. So it's fine for Toy Story 1, they're just like a reprisal of that song, I guess. But then Wheezy sings the song at the end of the film in Andy's room. And that complicates things a bit, because now, did Wheezy watch an old episode of that TV show or something to know what that song is? It gets weird.
By that point, it's a fourth wall breaking thing, though.
Yes.
He does sing to you, so it's fine.
Yeah.
It's the way it's done.
That's me just being picky. It's just, I have no problem with it when I watch the film, but
I like Wheezy as a character. I like Wheezy. Wheezy's cool. Wheezy, it's sad that Wheezy wasn't in. I mean, again, he probably couldn't have done much in 3, but it's one of those where he'd gone. I was like, oh, Wheezy's gone, and I feel like he was one of the first ones I thought of when they were like, oh, when they were like, oh, bring everyone here, and you saw like obviously the amount of toys that disappeared. I think he was one of the first ones I thought of. I was like, oh, where's Wheezy? Wheezy's gone. It's a shame because he was cool.
Well, I think that was also like a little bit of meta as well, because the one who voiced him, I think he did the voice of RC as well, and Lenny, the little blue binocular thing. I think he
When
did
does
the voice
RC
of that
make a
character.
when does he talk though?
Who?
RC.
Um,
RC doesn't talk.
who made like little revving noises or
Yeah, he
something?
made revving
I don't
noises,
know.
but don't talk. So I don't know.
No, but maybe they. I don't know. Maybe they did something with it. I know Lenny talks, doesn't he? He goes like, "Where's Lenny? Right here, Woody." Like he gets only just like a couple of lines in that first one. But he passed away. I think he was one of the animators maybe at Pixar, and he passed away. So in that moment in Toy Story 3, it's almost like a meta moment where they're remembering and respecting that person who's no longer with us. But it was that element of loss. I don't know why they did it with Bo Peep. I think it's probably because they didn't really have a place for her in the story, and that's fine.
I think that was a good move for both
Yeah.
people because they were
Yeah.
such close characters, and to say even she's gone was like, oh, it's a and that's it. And we didn't need to see where she went. We didn't need any of that. That was it. It just was enough reason for shit. But
it was that element of loss, which is
and it really
pivotal for that film.
emphasized that, like, you know, you can lose anyone kind of thing, and it was that whole like any of us could be next.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, which was I like that element to it.
Mm-hmm. And I think this film's also in a similar regard to that, is that it splits the party. It does what a lot of sequels do, where with this film, way more so than the first Toy Story, we have an A film. Oh, sorry, someone's correcting me there. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Joe Ramph was actually the head of Pixar's story department. Yeah, he was the one who did the voice of Lenny and Wheezy as well. Just on that point of Wheezy, sorry, I don't buy that in the film where he says like, why didn't you let us know you were up here? And he was like, well, I tried squeaking, but I'm still broken. No one could hear me. And then lets out the most like guttural cough ever. I'm like, I'm sure that someone in a quiet room at night would have heard Wheezy coughing on top of that shelf. Yeah.
But also, he would have if he's so broken and like thinking, but he would have taken him from the first house to the second house anyway. He would just clutter.
Yeah.
He was clutter. He's not in the game. No, there's nothing. He's not in the game, which is weird to think about. He should be in the game because he's very integral to the movie.
Sorry, I was talking about splitting the party, wasn't I? Yeah, so like most sequels, we split the party again. Whereas with the first Toy Story film, we did occasionally cut back to the toys at Andy's room where they were trying to like stage a rescue or something, but very like small scenes. Really, we have the A story all the way through, which is Woody and Buzz, and we focus on them. With this one, we naturally split everyone apart. So we've got, you know, Woody's side of the story with Stinky Pete and Jesse, and then we also have our crew of toys. And it's not all of the toys; it's the main players, but you know, characters like Bo Peep and whatnot stay behind. They don't really get many scenes in this one. They get enough, I think, to, you know, make them aware of their presence in the film, I guess. But I think it's very careful with who it selects to go on this team. It doesn't over clutter everyone. It's your main players. It's Mr. Potato Head, Ham, Rex, and Slinky Dog with Buzz. You know what I mean? I think that was quite clever how they did that. And I feel like that also echoes into Toy Story 3, where does Bo Peep really have a place in the story? Can we get her in there? And I think just by like the material that she's made from doesn't really make it practical for her to be in all of these high pressure situations, because she's made of like porcelain, isn't she? I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
which again makes no sense when we get to Toy Story 4.
Well, I feel like she actually has a dress, but I don't know how it's done, because you see it in this first one where she walks, the dress moves, but I don't know how it's done. There must be like a shell there to keep it on its shape. You know, like the whole like the cage thing that women used to have in like medieval times. It's kind of like that. I don't know, but yeah, we don't. Yeah, Bo Peep in 4 was no.
We'll get there. A couple of comments to get through. Kobe says, "What is the name of that Pete scene with the Barbies?" I don't know what the name of it is specifically. One of the outtakes, isn't it?
You find the bloopers on YouTube, and then there's. I feel like there's one that said Stinky Pete deleted, but I just go on the bloopers, and it's just one of the bloopers.
Yeah. And Kobe says, "Will you do a Polar Express review?"
Never seen that.
I've actually never seen that film. I'm not ruling it out. That we'd have to have a reason for doing a review on that. That's a Robert Zemeckis film, isn't it? So I don't know. Maybe if we did a Zemeckis retrospective at some point in the future, I don't really know. Not anytime soon, but I'm definitely not ruling it out because, yeah, as we were saying about these animated ones, we've got Amblimation we can talk about, but after that, it's like, where do we go from there? We've done most of the main players. DreamWorks is a weird one because there's a lot of films and there's a lot of phenomenal films in that list. There's also a lot of really, really, really incomprehensibly bad films too.
There's a lot of bad films in this list.
Well, there you go. Maybe we're going to have to do DreamWorks then after all said and done. Who knows? And Kobe says, will you be seeing the Michael biopic? Yes, I will. I do want to see that.
Eddie Van Halen, that is my question. Because he is integral to Michael Jackson. So it makes sense.
Let's see then. What else can we talk about here?
I mean, I just remember, like, you have all the different players in the whole like Miss Potato Head, all that in the game. I just remember, like, you go to levels and then the first level, you had Bo Peep was in the first level and stuff, and it was really cool how then as you start progressing, the characters that stayed at the house are no longer there. Which I never thought of as a kid, but then as I got older, I went, it's kind of cool that they left it like that. It wasn't just random; they did actually keep it to who was there, which was cool because Bo Peep was in the first level, but then not in the others. Jessie was in Owl's penthouse level, so like she was one of the collector people. So it was really cool how they kept everyone to their like sections, which was fun.
I do like some of the continuations from the end of Toy Story 1. Where it's like Mrs. Potato Head, Potato Head. So we get Mrs. Potato Head in this one, and she's great. I love their dynamic too. Again, she's not massively overstated in the film, but she's a really fun character.
She has more to do in the third one, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. She does. Yeah, and the puppy. We have Buster in this one.
Yeah, that was a cool addition. I like Buster. Buster was a fun addition, and then he's an old dog.
I know. Yeah, that's. I think out of the entire film, because this film looks phenomenal and it still looks great, but I was like, wow, okay, like the animal graphics, like the textures on the fur have massively improved since this one. Like Buster still looks fine, but when you compare Buster in like Toy Story 3, when he's the old dog, it's a massive leap forward, I think, in terms of the animation quality, which is just natural, isn't it? As time progresses.
This is a very picky thing. But I always find, in the third one where he's like, because in this one he calls Buster and he runs on him and like he's like his horse. It's great. He goes to do that in the third one, then Buster just collapses and it's funny. It's like, oh yeah, he's got an old because time has moved on. It's funny. But then this is a very picky thing. But then it's just like, well, he would have known that. Why did he call him then? Like that's just very picky. But I understand why the joke was set up like that.
It's fine.
Yeah, I do like him, and I like how him and Woody obviously had that really great chemistry together. I think he's a really cool character because they technically have like 3 dogs in this because they got Slinky, they got Bullseye, and they got Buster.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. A couple of other big scenes I want to talk about.
He's on the road with the cones.
Well, that's where I was going. Yeah,
that's my favorite. And then when he's like Potato's trying to pull off his shoe onto the gum, and you've got the thing rolling. That's my favorite scene overall. That's fucking brilliant.
I think that was a scene that I used to keep rewinding as a kid because I think it was just at the time was the most visually. It was the spectacle of the film. It was that whole set piece was just really, really funny. I do wonder what the drivers thought where they just see cones moving in the middle of the road, which is a little bit strange. And I love the music in there. We're definitely going to talk about the music in a second. Randy Newman returning to do the score for this, but I love that like little riff that plays when he's like drop dun and dun and like that like little bit of the music. It keeps recurring through that scene. It's a brilliant segment.
Spin around as well, like it hits him. He's like, and he's like,
yeah. So good. And then obviously like the ending with the airport is just no holds barred when you get to the end of the film. Just the amount of just thinking about the animation with it again, like the fact that they got all of this done in 9 months is astounding to me. And I do feel like that scene is almost like a tester, and they outdo themselves in the next film, which is Monsters Inc., which is the conveyor belts and everything with all the like the baggage handling. To me, is really reminiscent of what will go on to be the doors like, when Sully's hanging onto the door at the end, and there's like thousands of doors just circling everywhere, like Spaghetti Junction. It reminds me of that. But there's some really cool camera work in this. You can definitely tell that that's improved as well, the capabilities of how they can move the camera within the scene and within the shot. I've always loved the bit where Buzz is chasing after Woody on the baggage handling, and he's like jumping over all the suitcases, and he runs up like the guitar case, and it's just really creative. It's just really fun. I don't believe that that's how baggage handling looks when you go behind the doorway and the conveyor belt.
I believe it does. That's my head. I believe it does. Every time I'm like, that's what it looks like. I know because I've seen Toy Story.
I also remember having alongside this film a little supplementary video, and I don't know whether this was like a coupon in like a newspaper or something, or because it was in like this little cardboard slipcover. And it was about an hour long or just shy of it. And it was about the making of Toy Story 2. And it was presented by British presenter Andy Peters, I think his name was, or is. I think he's still around. I haven't seen him in a while, though. And he's he's presenting this video about, he's going to the Pixar studios and seeing how the sausage is made, essentially. And he speaks with John Lasseter. And John Lasseter just says, like, would you like a part in Toy Story 2? And he's like, what are you talking about? Like, you're kidding me, right? And he's like, no, I'm serious. Like, do you want a part in Toy Story 2? And Andy's like, I would be delighted. And then it cuts to him in the recording booth. And I don't know how long he was there for, but he had to do take after take of this one line. Just say it again, but in this slightly different way. And he plays one of the baggage handlers at the very, very end. And you hear him go like, hold it. There's a couple more bags coming from the terminal. And that line just sticks with me because I had this video growing up. So it's a fun little bit of trivia. That's probably like the equivalent of Vigo breaking his toe when he kicks the helmet. That's probably something that every Toy Story fan knows. But yeah, I did just want to bring that up. The whole ending with the aeroplane, completely ridiculous. Like the bit where they lasso with the pull string at the end. But it's all great stuff. And the feats of animation just getting better and better.
They all tower at the plane at the end. That's like well, it's not the last shot of the movie, but it's the last shot of the adventure sort of thing. I think that's a great little shot.
Sort of moving on to the music a little bit now. I'm going to talk about my favorite scene in the film. I don't know if it's your favorite scene, but Randy Newman.
I spoke about with the road.
Oh, that's your favorite. Yeah, I mean that's a great moment of spectacle for me. But the moment where I'm just like, this is basically a short film in and of itself. And it's the When Somebody Loved Me scene with Jessie. Jessie's backstory is quite possibly one of the greatest single scenes in Disney or Pixar in general. Always tugs at the heartstrings, and Randy Newman's score is just and songwriting is fantastic and exemplified beautifully in this Sarah McLachlan song, which I believe was nominated for best. It was the Academy Awards in 2000. It was nominated for Best Original Song, but it lost to You'll Be in My Heart, Phil Collins from Tarzan. I ain't even mad because it's a wonderful song as well. They're both fantastic, but yeah, it's difficult to pick. They're two very, very different songs, and I love them immensely.
I thought when I was younger, it was just a general pop song that was being used. I didn't think it was written for the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, he wrote. He also wrote Woody's Roundup for this, and obviously you get "You'll Be in My Heart." Not "You'll Be in My Heart." You Got a Friend in Me. Sorry, but this scene always stuck with me, and I remember it just commands your attention even at a young age because you are almost watching this music video. No dialogue; it's all done through imagery, and I think that's always really powerful when you can do that. That to me is animation at its purest form, where you. What? Sorry.
Like Mr. Bean.
Exactly. I feel like when you can construe a story and get those emotions across through just pure animation and visuals alone, I think you can do remarkable things with that. I think that's what it's all about, essentially, is making those characters feel real and getting those emotions across. I've seen some fun theories out there. I don't think it works with the year of like the car that you see Emily dropping off Jessie. But have you seen the theories that it's Andy's mom?
Yeah, I hate that. But it's not Emily that drops her off. It's her mom.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's weird because Jessie smiles and stuff that she's with her, but then you see her and it's her mum, and I'm like, but I thought that was it's really weird. I thought it was implied that it was because Emily picks her up, because that's the thing, she picks her up, she finds her under the bed, Then she's there like sitting next to her and she smiles and stuff, and then it's her mum putting her in the thing. I'm like, but that should no, because
Oh, yes, that's
change
right.
character, and why did that change character? That shouldn't have
Yeah.
been. That was weird.
Yeah.
That's always the weird thing. But
Yeah, I didn't know if it was like a time jump or something. Yeah.
I hate the theory of it being Andy's mum. It's like no. The reason I hate that is because it can work because of the setting, like with because if you look at like she had a record player, didn't she? And how it's very kind of 60s, 70s esque, and obviously this is so time wise it works perfectly. But I hate shit where everything's connected that doesn't need to be. It's like, but that doesn't need to. Like, I fucking hate that. Like, if they did come out and say, "Oh yeah, no, she is," it's like, but why? These are characters that have no reason to be connected, and for some reason they are. It's not like a fucking Kingdom Hearts moment where it's like, "Oh, but that's connected because of this," and it's like that has no reason. Now connecting them, all you do is make. And this is the way I feel about these things when they connect things that are unnecessary. It suddenly makes this big world feel so tiny that's like, oh, everything's connected. So that's not how real life works, and you suddenly lose the belief in it. Because it's that whole like you've got to have realism to an extent. Do you know what I mean? Even in your fantasy worlds, like your magic systems, you've got to have believable kind of okay, well, this works because of this or this. Like, do you know what I mean? There's an element of belief in what you do. And I think that to me just loses so much belief for it's like, but that's not how the world. I fucking hate that shit. I could be there for ages talking about that, but I hate that shit.
It has got me worried a little bit for Toy Story 5. And I don't think anything's been confirmed. It's just the rumor mill at the moment. But a lot of the rumors that I've seen is that it's going to be Jessie-centric and that it's going to be going into detail about her backstory. And I'm like, why? We got it. We got it beautifully with this. We don't need any more. And if they bring Emily back and she reunites with Jessie, I'm like, how small is this world? You know what I mean? Just so, as I say, that could all be untrue. It's just stuff that I've seen quite prominently.
They find Andy's kids or some shit, which would be stupid. It's like, but they have
yeah. I hope it's not true. Kobe says, when Toy Story 5 releases, what is one thing do you want to see that might change things from what Toy Story 4 would Toy Story 5 improve them for? That is some words in a sentence in there somewhere. Let's unpack that a little bit. What is one thing you want to see that might change how you perceive Toy Story 4, I guess, or improve Toy Story 4?
I don't think anything would improve Toy Story 4 because it's pointless. It's the most pointless sequel just ever. It's one of the most pointless things, regardless whether you think it's good or bad. Because I think the reason I think it's shit is because it's pointless and it's unneeded, and it's like we have the perfect end to continue is just shit in itself. As a movie, if you just forget all of that, it's not the worst movie ever. It's still cool. I still liked elements from it, but I don't think there's anything Toy Story 5 could do that would make 4 better. I have a feeling it'll probably be better than 4, and it has the potential with the tech that it has the potential to actually be a decent movie that makes me think, you know what, if we didn't do 4, this would be so much better. But it's still ended at 3, so it's still going to be pointless. And like, it's one of those things of like, oh yeah, but it's about tech, you can do that. It's like, you can, but the story ended. That's it. That we don't do that. I don't think there's really anything it could do to make 4 better. But I do believe it has the potential to be a lot better than 4.
I do think that by the sounds of it, Toy Story 5 has a more interesting idea behind it, like a genesis of an idea.
What was the idea in 4?
Well, exactly, yeah. 4 just felt like, let's make money, let's make another Toy Story film. Whereas this one, they actually have something to say, something interesting, a topic that is very prevalent in kids of today's generation, and technology becoming more prominent than toys even. So I think there is something fun to say there, and you could do a lot of cool commentary on that, I think. So I think that's something that Toy Story 5 has over Toy Story 4 right from the offset, because I don't think 4 had any of that. It was just, oh yeah, we're doing another Toy Story.
4 had anything. 4
yeah, there was no themes in there really, the grabbed your attention. But I think one thing that's going to be quite damaging to Toy Story 4 and is going to diminish that film's importance even more so than it already has is the fact that just Woody's back with the gang again. It's like the one thing you could maybe make an argument for with Toy Story 4 was that, you cried all of your tears. You had that emotional farewell at the end of Toy Story 3, and many tears were shed and continued to be shed whenever I watched that film. You did your big goodbye, but it was a goodbye to Andy, and it was kind of you as a viewer were saying goodbye to your childhood. That's why it was so powerful. Then Toy Story 4, there was still an element of emotion there, I guess, because Woody was now saying goodbye.
I think it was done very well and handled for what it was. It was good.
Yeah.
But it was like, but we had, yeah.
But the tears were less in Toy Story 4, because now it was like, oh, okay, well, I am getting emotional a little bit because Woody's now saying goodbye to all the toys. But even then, I was like, the fact that we have a Toy Story 4, there's a chance we're probably going to get a Toy Story 5. So that's why I guess the emotion felt a little bit hollow to me, because I was like, I don't feel like this is going to last, this goodbye. And then from the trailer, Woody's just back with the gang. So
how does that even work?
Where does that leave Toy Story 4 now? It's just we've immediately retconned, and hit the factory reset button on it again. What was the point? You could probably, without the exception of the introduction of Forky, you could probably just skip from Toy Story 3 to Toy Story 5, maybe. I don't know. It's weird.
Four was just a mistake.
Kobe says, do you have a favorite DreamWorks movie? There's a lot of... Shrek 2 is great. I'm going to say Prince of Egypt.
Another amazing sequel.
I mean, shit, there's Prince of Egypt, Road to El Dorado, Shrek 1 and 2, the Kung Fu Panda trilogy, How to Train Your Dragon. I'm going to say Prince of Egypt, though. That's probably...
That's, again, one of the greatest sequels.
Let's see. We've got Travis who says, how's it going, guys? Yeah, not too bad, thank you. Talking about a great film, so that's always nice. We're not bitching about... Well, we're bitching about Toy Story 4, but,
when was the last shit film? There's been a couple of good ones. When was the last shit one?
A newer film that I went to see? Probably Superman.
No, well, yeah. No, I know, but what about the last one we spoke about? Was it The Boy and the Heron? Was that the last one that we went there?
I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to call that film shit. I know you didn't like it, and I didn't like it as much as some, but I wouldn't go so far as to call it bad. It's probably the earwig and the what was it? The witch and the earwig, the earwig and the witch.
Boy and the Heron. So
Travis says, have Buzz be the one who takes him in, but that narcissistic attention-seeking Woody is there with none of the growth that our Woody experienced. Then, of course, the real Woody shows up. Oh, he's talking about Toy Story 5.
So basically, swap the role in the sense of have it as a different Woody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be a cool thing because it's
he's meant to be one of a kind, though, isn't he? You know what I mean? Like super rare.
Yeah, but I think it's more interesting than just Woody's back. Is what I'm saying, and it's kind of, and I think. The thing that's kind of cool, it's a little bit more bookendy in the sense of, it's kind of like what this did. I mean, it's not good, but it's kind of like, when you just got to do what you got to do with what you got kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
We talked about villains as well. I guess we can also add Al into this list, who's voiced wonderfully by Wayne Knight. I love that guy's voice. He's just an absolute joy whenever you see him on screen or hear his voice or anything like that. He's brilliant, an amazing, amazing voice actor. And he does get one of my favorite jokes in the film. I guess if we're talking about laugh out loud jokes, you actually mentioned one of your favorites. It lined up with mine. It's the bit where Rex, where they're about to cross the road. If you want to... Yeah, it's just the car just drives past like, oh well, we tried. Just proceeds to leave. But I also love Al, where he gets in his car and he's like, I can't believe I have to drive all the way to work on a Saturday, all the way to work, and it's literally just across the road from his office. Brilliant.
Yeah, because they do it again when Buzz sees him drive off. He's like, huh.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's super convenient, but it's really, really funny. It also, every time I see the scene with Al, it really makes me want like some the Cheetos that were called, weren't they? I guess, or what's it?
Were they cheese puffs? Because what's it's aren't in America, so would they be?
Yeah, it'd be cheese puffs. Yeah,
cheese puffs. Yeah,
but they get the animation so on point for that, like the cheese dust, like on the fingers and everything. Speaking of the animation, one thing that was a massive upheaval for Pixar, because I guess they hadn't animated anything like this before, with the dust particles on top of the shelf with Wheezy, and when Woody gets put on the top shelf.
There's and it was on Jessie as well in her bit.
Yeah, so apparently it was really, really tricky for them because they hadn't done anything like that before. It was a really, really arduous task, and apparently after they successfully animated one single speck, in the final film, there's over 2 million dust particles just on that shelf alone, which is mental to think about. But yeah, another thing that's really mental to think about is that we almost didn't get this film. And I'm not
Oh, is
talking
this
about the fact that it was a 9-month
one that
turnaround for this film. I'm
is
talking
this
about the
one that
fact that
got
this,
saved?
yeah, this film almost genuinely got deleted and did
Oh, it did
for a
get deleted,
while.
yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible to think about. So it was. I'm just trying to think if there's a. I'm just trying to see if there's a name, someone I can blame here. Um, oh, it just says one of the animators was routinely clearing out some files, probably sort of like the cache or whatever you call it on the computers, and accidentally deleted the root file of Toy Story 2. And animators were returning to work, and like all of the assets and everything was gone.
Nowadays, you just have like a little password on it, and the whole like it would all be in a locked proper. Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
and also the fact that it wasn't backed up.
Yeah, I know that's the crazy thing. That's just insane to me. So they lost 90% of the work from the last 2 years. So like all the production and everything. Um, and yeah, it was luckily there was I think her name is it Galen Sussman was working home remotely to care for a newborn child, and she was the sole person who had a backup copy of the film. And luckily they were able to reinstate it, and they only ended up losing like a couple of recent days' work, but like someone must have got fired that day because that's insane. I don't know. Has there ever been another example of that in some
I
way?
bet she just got a box of chocolates. I bet that's her only reward.
Probably, yeah. Didn't get a
But
rise or anything.
to be
Is
fair,
this
they did lose 90% of Kingdom Hearts files when they remastered the first one. I know they didn't have it was something like that, like all the core files were gone. They had to redo like majority of it. I know that was a thing there, but I don't know if it was I don't know how it was happened, but I know they literally were like, shit, we don't really have any of this, and they had to remake loads of it.
what I really appreciate about this film as well? I guess this can be sort of one of my final thoughts on it is just the fact that how much the entire team, Lasseter especially, but you know the rest of the team, absolutely killed themselves to get this film made. With that 9-month window to get it done. And you hear this with some video game companies as well, or visual effects artists especially. I know like Rockstar, how they have them working crazy hours round the clock, like barely going home. They don't see their families. They just work, barely getting any sleep to get all of this done, working round the clock. And Lasseter was like that. He was doing that for months, but over time, this really took a toll on its workers. And Pixar at the time seemed to have like a really good system for it. Like they would outright deny people's overtime because they'd be like, no, go home to your families. Like, we don't want you working crazy hours here. We want you just working like a set shift. That all went out the window, of course, when they realized they had 9 months to get this film done because the release date was immovable. And they tried everything to move that release date, and it just couldn't be done. And apparently, a lot of the workers suffered from carpal tunnel from animating this film. Over a third of the staff had repetitive strain injuries from just the sheer amount of hours they were working and animating nonstop without a rest. People were leaving like their kids in cars and stuff because they were just so mentally just messed up and overly tired. They were just forgetting everything. So the entire team just completely killed themselves to get this done. And I really appreciate Lasseter as well for stepping in and looking at we'll never know what that original version was like that Disney approved of, but Pixar were like, this isn't up to our standards. I really appreciate him for coming in and saying, no, we've got to sort of push for perfection with this, for greatness, to really challenge ourselves. Like, we can do this. And they did it. And they didn't just, produce a great film. They produced a phenomenal sequel and arguably one of the best sequels ever made. It definitely ups the ante a lot more from the first one. I'm not going to say it doesn't. I do like the simplicity a lot more. As I've mentioned before, Toy Story 1's still my favorite. But yeah, as someone commented earlier, miracle is the perfect word for this, that it came out as good as it did. And that they were even able to get it made for that release date. So it always sucks when people have to like really, really suffer for their art in that way and just, mentally, emotionally, physically just put themselves through God
The
only
thing
knows
is,
what.
they're
But
all different, aren't they? Like the first one is like a buddy movie. The second one, like I say, is your quest movie, and the third one is like, it's like a heist. They got to break out. Like,
yeah, yeah.
they're all very, very different. And the fourth one, I don't know what that is. They just went weird. But like, they're all very, very different, and I think that's one thing that makes them great. That works as well as the trilogy, and that's why things have certain beats where you go, right, 3 times. Can we do it again? Probably not. Like, and I think it just all works perfectly as a three.
Mhm. No, I totally agree. I totally agree. We haven't talked about Barbie much. Jodie Benson, Disney legend, the voice of Ariel, playing Barbie, fantastic. And
And there's a
we'll talk
whole
about.
Barbie aisle, which is it Ham that's like, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, I'm a married spud. I'm a married spud.
Oh yeah, I remember that. There's loads of them. You just really wanted one of them to get out and go, I'm just gonna stay.
Mhm.
That's what you need. You need a character who doesn't return for any like for Toy Story 3 and exits there, but he's fine with it. He goes, I'm just gonna stay here. And that's it. And he's gone.
We'll definitely be talking about Barbie a lot more in Toy Story 3 because Barbie stuff with Ken in that third film is without a doubt my favorite stuff in that film. Like the way that those characters are worked into it is just hilarious to me. It's fun that you can see the Bugs Life toys in one of the aisles as well, in one of the shots in the
And
background.
even at the end in the bloopers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and he goes, "It's a 2 movie, but it's not a Bugs Life 2." And we still don't have a Bugs Life 2, probably for the best, as we discussed. But
It's for the best in a lot of ways. It's just sad that we got Cars 2 and 3 and all these ones got sequels, but they didn't touch Bugs Life. It was like, well, why?
I know the outtakes sort of exist in their own realm, but to me, that this is now canon that Bugs Life, the Ant Mound, takes place just like in the same neighborhood. Or maybe they've moved, maybe they've immigrated, maybe they moved to a different colony that's in, Andy's neighborhood now. But it's all connected as far as I'm concerned.
I wonder where it's supposed to be set. I don't think it's supposed to be set anywhere. It's just a place,
Hmm.
isn't it?
Yeah, I can't remember if they say specifically.
We
Or,
do have
or
the
if the.
globe in when he does that speech with Buzz. He has the American flag behind him
Hmm.
in any American release, but everywhere else around the world it's just a globe. Which I remember seeing for the first time playing the game. I think it had the American flag, and I was like, "Swear that's different." When you just see something little and you're like, I feel like that. Do you know what I mean? Like it could be something where a character's got different, I don't know, a different color fucking t-shirt on, and just in a random, and you're like, "There's something different." It's that kind of thing, and it's like that. And I was playing the game, I was like, "There's something different about this." Swear that is not an American flag, and it's a globe everywhere except in America.
Yeah, that's the and that concludes our broadcast day or
Yeah.
whatever it is on the TV. Let's see. Travis says Toy Story 2, that's a great job of expanding both Woody and Buzzy's backstory, as well as overall world building with the toys. AI is also a fantastic villain alongside Stinky Pete. While Sid may be considered the best villain, it's less him and more of the horror of his bedroom that is memorable. Yeah, I think in terms of expanding the stories, I guess we can finish on this. It's the development of Woody and Buzz, because we're not retread. We do kind of retread similar ground in the respect that there is a Buzz Lightyear toy in the film that still thinks is a toy. Like we still do that aspect of it, don't we? With that new Buzz with the utility belt. But the actual character development and progression of the original Buzz, the Buzz that we know and the toys know, is great. That friendship between the two. I love that speech where Buzz makes it successfully to Woody and, is asking him to come back to Andy. And he says, what's he say? Like, I believed in him. Like somewhere in that padded stuffing is a toy that told me, when he goes on that speech, it's just great to see that. And also the fact that he does the helmet on the new Buzz and he just lifts his foot up to show Andy. It's a great continuation and development from his character in the first one, which is completely de-evolved in Toy Story 4, where he basically becomes an idiot again and he thinks that his voice command is his conscience. They do that, don't they, in the film? I'm not just misremembering that. Like he knows it's a toy. He knows that when you hit the button, it says lines. But for some reason, all of a sudden in Toy Story 4, he thinks that's like his inner voice and ridiculous.
The I
Oh,
like that, 'cause
makes me mad.
in this movie they've got it's a subtle kind of obviously when they switch the buzzes and they don't realize, but like obviously he acts very Space Ranger. He's like, oh, we need to be defeat Zurg and all that. There's just the little subtle lines where they're just like, I think the buzzer went to his head, and just the
Yeah.
little things where they're just like, you're being really weird. And it's like, and it's just those little things, but obviously they just go with it, which I think is quite fun.
Again, like continuation, there's with the stuff with Jessie, how she's terrified of going back into storage. She's got like trauma from it. I think they do hint at that again, don't they, in Toy Story 3? Is there a moment where they're going to be in the dark or in a confined space or something? I remember her sort of
Yeah.
starting to freak out again about it.
Who plays the harmonica in 3? Someone plays the harmonica. Is it Ham?
Yes. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Why do they have a really cool harmonica? Where did you get that from?
Yeah, I guess. Well, let's do final thoughts then on Toy Story 2. Unless there's any other scene or moment you can think of.
Movies ever made is what I would say. Just like Kill Bill, but Kill Bill I think would be it's one where I think I've said is like my favorite movie ever made, but it's hard to say favorite because it depends what mood you're in. But this is up there with that. It's one of the top movies. I'd say if I had to pick like a top 5, this would be in the top 5.
Oh wow! Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, no,
I think it would be. I genuinely think this would be in the top 5. It's always hard to make lists like that because in the next 6 months I'd be like, oh yeah, but I forgot about this movie. Like, do you know what I mean? It's always. But I think it would be probably one of the greatest animated movies I've ever seen. It's definitely right up there with one of my favorites ever.
This was a joy to rewatch. In all honesty, a lot of these earlier Pixar films are going to be, especially next week's as well, which is going to be Monsters Inc.
And it's a game I've played fucking countless times. It's a game I've played so many times. I always go back to it. It's so replayable. It doesn't need a remake. It doesn't need this. It just needs to be put on consoles, which it is, and that's great. It holds up so well, and it's amazing. And the thing I love about the game as well, if you're inside Andy's house or in Al's toy barn, you can see outside. Because it's really basic. It's black and you see a couple of trees, like because obviously it was in the 90s it was made. Every time I play it, I look out there, I'm like, it's the 90s out there. It just looks so cool. But it's such a the whole thing. I think the thing that would have made the Toy Story 2 game better is if they had a Zurg level like they did in the 3 game, which they did, but I think they should, because Zurg was big then. I think if they had a proper level that was a proper, and you got to that would have been cool. But the game is again so good.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I'm sure a lot of other people agree as well. It's definitely one of the best Pixar films. As I say, I'm just going to savor these early Pixar films. It's going to be an absolute joy to go back to some of these. Toy Story 2 was one that I hadn't gone back and rewatched in quite a while. But Monsters Inc.'s one that I have checked out probably within the last few years, I want to say. I think it's probably on at one Christmas. It's usually one of those Pixar films that's put on around the holiday season. I probably watched it on TV. Monsters Inc. 2001. That makes me feel very old because I remember going to see that at the cinema. It never gets easier seeing the years that these came out.
As everyone else's.
I'm wondering if maybe rewatching it, you might have a different. Maybe you won't. Maybe
it might be. But that and Finding Nemo, I always thought were very like. I never, but it also might be because I was just coming off like I loved Bugs Life. I love Bugs Life, and Toy Story 2, like I say, is one of my favorites ever. I don't know whether it because going to that, I was like, the next, and I went, I don't know. It might have been that.
No, I absolutely love Monsters Inc. It's without doubt one of my favorites. I think it's just brilliant. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting conversation because even if your opinion hasn't changed, I think it will be an interesting discussion and back and forth to see how we maybe disagree on certain aspects, or maybe we'll have a turnaround. Tune in next week to find out Dale's review on Monsters Inc. So yeah, this has been great talking about this film tonight. I've really, really enjoyed this evening. So thank you to everyone who's joined in the conversation. If you're discovering this after the fact, let us know your thoughts on Toy Story 2. Really just anything Toy Story related. Let's just open it up to all of them. But specifically Toy Story 2, if you've got any early memories.
Don't take anything after 3.
Yeah.
We don't take questions on anything after 3. If anyone mentions it, we just go, I didn't think they did it for. That wasn't a thing. It's like when people talk about after Return of the Jedi, we go, that didn't happen. They
Yeah,
ended.
exactly. Yeah, that's the end point, isn't it?
Nothing happened after that.
This is what I mean. Headcanon is so important for stuff like this. And if you are enjoying this Pixar retrospective, then please do consider subscribing, because this retrospective is probably going to be going on until September. I think we've worked it out with the amount of Pixar films that we've got to get through.
Although Toy Story 5 will be in the middle somewhere.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure that out. It'll be fine. These aren't numbered. I'll sort it out once we're all said and done.
And did we figure out it's before 4 as well or some shit?
Yeah.
It's really weird.
We'll figure it out. But yeah, please do consider subscribing to the channel. Lots more content on the way. Other retrospectives that we want to do. And yeah, if you guys have any other suggestions of video series or retrospectives, whether that's animation or anything, please do let us know your recommendations. And because we read all of your feedback and recommendations, and yeah, we'll see if we can get to it. Kobe already says can't wait to see the next one. Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. It's my weekly tradition now, is watching these Pixar films, and that's my Monday. That's my Monday morning. It's just like old times. I get my breakfast, I sit down, and I watch a Pixar movie. It's good times.
Monsters Inc. Then Finding Nemo.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Right, yeah. I think
Incredible after that.
Okay, the first 6 movies, and then it just went a little bit weird.
Yeah, there's a little blip. But we'll get to that. Anyway, we're going to round off tonight. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in, and we will catch you guys on the next video. Take care, everyone.